It's November 12th, and I just saw my first Kansas buck. This is day one of my Kansas trip, and I'm here with my buddy Jimmy. If you're a older school fan of mine, you might recognize him. We hunted twice. We hunted turkeys, and you got me on a bird, and then helped me get that buck out with the canoe. The Uber deer. So Jimmy's a good friend of mine from Pennsylvania, and you've lived out here for what, 7 years now? And finally, I got the tag, and I'm here, and I'm excited to be here. And we've seen 2 deer this morning. I'm just trying to get the lay of the land, see my options.
We would have went out back.
Trying to get the lay of the land here, see what my options are with public ground and whatnot. Go from there. Beautiful morning. It's chilly, but it's supposed to be pretty warm today. But we'll see what we can do. Just driving around. There's a deer. That looks like a buck. Maybe not. Doe. They're moving this morning. Good deal. All this ag here, and she's eating the dead grass. He's got a doe. He just bedded.
His antlers are just off color from that grass.
Oh, I see him now.
He says, man, unless you come walking at me, I'm gonna stay right here.
It's a good buck. Alright, it is officially our first ever Kansas bow hunt. It is the evening now, it's 4 p.m. Jimmy and I spent the whole day just looking around. Jimmy showed me around, kind of showing me my options. Got some lunch, shot the bow a lot, and now we're set up over this spot. Jimmy had some good hunts in here in October. This drainage system that comes up, and there's a pond here. There's these little fingers of vegetation that is really good for deer bedding. And this whole other hillside across the little creek is all cut corn. There's a ton of deer tracks in here. For such a small piece of wood, it's a lot of deer tracks. There's a scrape right here 5 yards behind me, and there's a scrape out here 10, 12 yards. The wind isn't great. My wind's going that way, but we'll see what happens. Feeling good. It's really hot out, 70 degrees or so. But this is apparently a popular area for people to bird hunt. And these deer are really used to human pressure, human scent. So definitely not like what I'm used to in Pennsylvania. We'll see what happens this evening. I'm very excited. Jimmy's set up over here, 5 yards beside me. And we're just gonna enjoy the evening. I'm in the tree for a half hour. Heard that buck coming out of the thick stuff. Stepped right out. I don't know, 50 yards. We got really aggressive calling there, but he's not top dog, I'll tell you that. He took off pretty quick when we got real aggressive, but that's sweet. That is awesome. Nice buck. Alright, it's November 13th now. It's the next morning. So I didn't even get to recap about that big 8-point. Holy smokes. That first buck walked off, gave it a little bit, sunset, and I hit the grunt. 2 minutes later, that buck was coming out and coming for us. The wind was not good at all. It was blowing straight west to my left, and then it just shut off. Thermal started pulling down. That buck came right in, started smelling. He stopped at 40 yards. He stopped and looked hard for another deer. And if we had a decoy, I think that was a different story. And started walking off. I let him get out of sight. Grunted again. Had Jimmy rake the tree that he was in. And that buck immediately 180. Here he comes right back to the same exact spot. Stood there for a bit. Smelling. He did blow, but did not run off. He just kind of bounced off and then walked. And now I'm back here. Jimmy's not feeling the best this morning, so he's going to get some rest, but I hope he can make it out here. But this is a different ball game here for sure. There's only a couple trees to climb, and I'm just letting it get daylight right now. It's just almost first light, so I'm going to get my stuff rounded up, and I'm just going to walk this hilltop and be able to glass that private cornfield and maybe just listen for some deer, see where deer are moving, and really see what the wind's doing. And kind of just go from there, play it by ear, and yeah, we'll see what today brings. Right, just getting first light now. Gonna get scorched by the sun here in a little bit. The thermals are pulling down, which I don't want. Those 2 bucks came from down here. Just try and be able to see that corn. Maybe see one of those bucks or a different buck, and maybe try to cut them off. That's sort of my plan right now, instead of just climbing a tree. There's a little ditch finger. You can see these taller trees right here. That little finger goes down all the way to the bottom. I do want to walk that today, at least sneak hunt and call through there with an arrow knocked. The wind's supposed to pick up and come out of the southeast. So it's going to be going up this drainage, so I don't know, I kind of just want to hang back and relax, see what's going on at first, and just kind of hunt them like mule deer, spot and stalk, and try to cut them off, you know. Got a buck chasing a doe out in the corn. Can't tell what buck it is. 2 bucks. There's 3 deer. Looks like 2 does and a buck. It's not light enough to tell what buck it is. Oh, they're running. The chase is on. Man, he's dogging her. Alright, I'm getting in there. I'm getting right in there. Right in there below him. Got a buck chasing a doe in front of me on the private. Grunting. I gotta get ready. I got an arrow knock, but I gotta get more ready. I'm right on the border of the private. I can hear those deer in there just walking real slow. The buck's grunting real soft. Sun came up, birds got really active. There's just so much noise now with people driving on the dirt roads and all the birds around me. I can't hear the deer, but they were heading that way, right up the edge of the border on the private side. Definitely 2 different deer than what I saw in that cornfield. There's no way they covered that much ground that fast. These are 2 different deer than what I saw. Looks like there's a doe out on the horizon on the corn. It's probably the other doe that was with the buck and the doe. Oh, there's another deer. Hold on. Looks like a buck. Looks like a buck. Big buck. Giant buck. That's the 8-point. Right to the big 8-point, got it in and out in the corn. I was in these trees right here when I grounded him in. I'm gonna keep an eye on him with the binos, and if he wants to come back over here, I'll cut him off at the fence. Just saw another nice buck going up this other finger. I don't know if he was a half rack or his left side is all messed up, but his right side's nice. But he's going up that other finger where the big 8 was with the doe, but they've moved to this finger to the left. That other buck finds him and that doe. Might get a little interesting here. It's 9 a.m. Bucks are moving. So that buck just kept going. He went over the horizon. That's my first whitetail I've ever seen with a split G2. Looks like his left side's completely gone. Old Wiley going for a cruise today. My Pennsylvania eyes don't see that much. Not too many coyotes running around like that in Pennsylvania out in the middle of a cornfield. At 10 a.m. in 60 degrees. Well, that coyote turned 180 right at that buck and doe, got into the same ditch as them, crossed, went out the other side, buck and doe, hoofed it across the corn, and got into this other finger. And now they're probably just gonna bed down in there again. Man. Oh, there's another deer. Little buck. Spike. Let me get a little more organized here and try to come up with a game plan. I really want to climb a tree, but there's a lot of locust trees. I can't climb them. They got all those 5-inch spikes all over them. There's a good scrape line on this fence edge, though. Might just set up on it for the rest of the day. Alright, I decided to climb a tree here. This wind picked up. It's almost 11 o'clock now. There's a lot of locust trees in here, but I found this Osage tree. And they don't have the big spikes like the locust. My platform's only about 7 feet, but man, what a setup. This is one of the coolest setups I've ever been in. This fence row is right here, about 3 yards to my right. Super thick with locust trees, but that's the border. So this fence row runs like this. And right along the fence row, there's like a mowed path with scrapes every 20 yards right here, the whole way. There's a bunch of trails that cross from the public to the private. Good trail that crosses right in front of me. There's a really good scrape out here, about 25 yards. But this road right here is about a 12-yard shot. And these bucks, if they want to check these scrapes, they're going to take path of least resistance. And they're going to walk right here, 12 yards. My wind is blowing that way, but it's literally blowing right to my shooting lane. I'm not really worried about it. From what I saw yesterday, and from what Jimmy has told me, these deer, they're pretty okay with human scent. I'm kind of picturing a buck. If he does hit my scent, that's just hit. He's just going to stop. Arrow flies. That's kind of my thought process. It's not like Pennsylvania where a buck hits your scent, tucks his tail, and goes, purposely letting them hit my scent so they stop. Arrow's gone. That's kind of my thought here. It's getting warm out. It's probably 70 right now. Those 2 bucks yesterday came right out of here. And there's just so many deer in here. I think I'm at 8 or 9, maybe 10 does I've seen. And 5 bucks today. And then counting the one yesterday would be 6 different bucks in here. So there's critters in here. This is a good spot. Scrape line, they're fresh. We're rocking. I'm feeling good. So it's almost 2 o'clock right now. I went up to the truck for like a half hour, get some chapstick. This dry heat just kills my lips. Also, I had a honey bun up in there, so I went to go eat it. It charged my camera battery a little bit. My walk up there, jumped a buck for sure. Just sounded like real deep. Just super light bump. It was right where that first buck came out of yesterday. About 2 o'clock, it gets dark in a few hours, so we're gonna ride it out. I also grabbed the rattling antlers too. Probably do that when the wind dies down. Sun finally set where I'm at, so I'm gonna do some grunts, wait a bit, and do some rattling. Nice buck coming, nice buck coming. Huh? Oh my gosh. What just happened? Oh my gosh. We got a buck. I apologize if that is hard for somebody to watch, but that is part of the game. That is, that's part of it. That sometimes that happens when you're hunting. I really have no reason to apologize. The buck did not suffer for long. Quick, clean bow kill right there. I'm very thankful. We got a buck with the freaking recurve in Kansas. Second day of hunting on probably over 180 hunts since my last buck with a bow. It's been rough. It's been freaking rough. It's been a rough time for me. And what a just textbook setup, textbook hunt. It is 70 degrees out. What a hunt. I had 11 days to hunt and did it on day 2. I mean, this is a special place. That is the 6th or 7th different buck I've seen in this little piece of woods. I'm so happy. That is awesome. A lot of good meat. Good corn-fed Kansas buck right there. Looks like a 7-point. He came right to the grunt. That was awesome. Awesome. Very thankful. I didn't come out here to shoot a giant. That was a bonus if I got a giant. That's what I came here for. I came for a good bow hunt. And that's what I got, man. Textbook. Came in absolutely perfect. Just like how I said. I had to grunt him to stop because the wind died down and it went more south. The wind's blowing more that way, so he didn't hit my wind right there. So I grunted to stop him. That made him alert. And that's why he dropped that shot and I got him in the spine. Man, I'm going to gather my stuff up here, call Jimmy, call my dad, call my buddies. Oh, what a beautiful, beautiful evening here on public ground in Kansas. So thankful. Alright, so there was my setup. Just one stick with an 8er and platform. Just bulletproof in that Osage tree. Absolute bulletproof. No clue a deer would ever have a chance of seeing me, and by the time they did, they were getting an arrow in them. This is that road. That buck came from up here. That buck was bedded up here, probably right beside my truck, honestly. He came right down here, and this is where he lays. Just a nice 7-point. Just a nice white rack 7-point. Beautiful, beautiful buck. Very thankful. That is awesome. My buddy Jimmy's gonna come out, help me get him, and try to get a little post game and better footage here, but we got a buck with a bow. Very happy. So here he is, got my great buddy Jimmy Owen. Can't thank him enough for this hunt, honestly. But we got him. I mean, like I said, this is probably 190 bow hunts or something since my last buck kill. And I also mentioned this, it's not a buck that people come to Kansas for. It's nothing like that. I could care less what people think about this deer. This means a lot to me. It's a lot of good meat. He got me fired up coming to the grunt, and I'm very thankful for it. We came in here yesterday, had a phenomenal hunt, and got my first taste of what this place really is, and was blown away. Absolutely blown away. Just how much different these whitetail are than home really blew my mind. Got away with a lot more stuff than what I would at home. Not really worried about ground scent, not worried about where really my wind's blowing, and it worked out. He came in completely textbook how I was planning. He was bedded up. There's a finger up here of like taller locust trees up a little bit.
They call them plum thickets too here. Yeah.
And these deer really have tended, from what I've seen in 24 hours of bow hunting in Kansas, these deer love going up these little fingers and draws on these little side hills to bed. And I believe he was probably bedded in that vicinity. My access, I parked up there and we walked the top out, and there's that pond up there where we sat up yesterday. Walked down, and I wanted to hunt on the ground this morning and just kind of see what's going on and wait for the wind to pick up before I made a move to climb a tree. And that big 8-point we saw yesterday was out in that field with the doe pinned and really locked down on her. Saw another half rack with a split G2. What else did I see? A half rack spike and a 4-point.
Almost got stepped on by a doe.
Yeah, the 4-point chased a doe to me and almost stepped on me. And that, right about then's when the wind picked up, and I walked this trail out. There's scrape every 20 yards on this road, and the only tree to climb was this Osage tree because everything else is a locust. Got up in that Osage and only like 7 feet up, and absolutely textbook. The way everything I expected to happen happened, which does not happen much in where I'm from, in Pennsylvania. And I was waiting for the sun to set, and as soon as that sun set, then I wasn't illuminated, because the sun, since this is lower elevation than where I was sitting, this was shade, that was all sun in these trees behind me. And any deer that would have came in would have picked me off pretty easily. So I just was patient, waited for that sun to go above the top of my bow limb, hit the grunt tube, look back, and here he comes, and just came on a string. And but the shot, as you saw, I mean, I apologize to anybody that was kind of hard for anybody to watch, but I don't want to leave any part of that out. That's part of bow hunting. He jumped the string because I stopped him with that meh, and that alerted him. And he just jumped the string a little bit, got him in the spine. I was able to follow up with an arrow that was a little back, and then I missed my third shot and I was out of arrows. So now he's still alive, but obviously paralyzed. So I got out of my tree, approached the deer with caution, pulled an arrow out of the ground, and then put it into his lung, and he expired very quickly. So it's very tough to watch that, but it is part of it. It was a quick, clean, ethical bow kill, and I cannot ask for more. It's like I said, it's probably tough for some people to watch, but it's I'm not sorry for it. I'm not going to apologize for that shot at all. That it was a quick, clean, ethical bow kill, and you cannot ask for anything more. So it's I believe I have a doe tag.
Yep.
Still.
And the challenge begins.
Yeah, Jimmy has challenged me to get a doe on the ground, which has always been a goal of mine to do. And now I really have the opportunity to do it now that I have a buck tag filled. So I'd love to attempt to try to get a doe from the ground. And Jimmy has 5 bird dogs too, and I've never shot a wild bird. And I love hunting with dogs, beagles or chasing rabbits or bird dogs, pheasants, grouse, and well, you don't got grouse here. You got
Nope.
quail.
We have prairie chickens, quail, and pheasants.
Never shot a wild bird, so I would, other than ducks. But I would love to just watch the dogs hunt and do some of that here this week as well. But it's a beautiful day to be a bow hunter. I'll tell you that. Oh, I'm so thankful. I can't thank Jimmy enough. I really wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for Jimmy. He's been, how many years have been hounding me to come out here to hunt?
Ever since I moved here.
And I applied last year to draw and had that preference point and drew this year. And I hope to be back every single year. I'll tell you that. I got some unfinished business with some bigger bucks. But, man, exciting. Just a exciting bow hunt. Out of state. This is
your second day. I mean,
second day. And got a mule deer out west as well this year. It's just been a great fall. I had some amazing bow hunts in Pennsylvania. And it's been a phenomenal fall, and I'm very thankful for it. But to come out of state with a recurve, somewhere I've never been, and to get one like this is awesome to me. I love this. This is sweet. This is a great buck. He might be my biggest bow buck too. He's like right there for my biggest bow buck. So that's pretty sweet, very sweet. But we got not super far drag.
No.
The only thing I've learned is carry a 4th arrow, maybe. I've been carrying a 4th arrow, but I shot one at a squirrel last week in Pennsylvania, and the broadhead is still in that tree. So I was like, I'll just carry 3 arrows, and maybe the 4th, but you dig one out of the ground, then you have 4.
Mm-hmm.
Man. Beautiful.
Just look at him, man. I mean, just take it in.
Yeah. Well, about all she wrote, huh? Fuck down. Nice.
Leatherwood thumbs up.
The Leatherwood thumbs up. That's old school.